there are great minds all around us, and that's what I've just been realizing, and that's why I wanted to bring on my next guest, because even though she might not be super famous or super successful yet, she is definitely on her way to becoming those things. And even though maybe people don't see it now, and they don't see the vision, and they don't understand why she does everything that she does, I feel like her passion just seeps through, and you could see that and you can feel that, which is even more important. And if you feel that, you could tell when someone is going to make it, because they have that it factor, as my friend Casey likes to say, which she was on already. Listen to the last episode if you want to hear more about that. But I just feel it's incredible how I'm surrounded by so many great people, and I know I'm trying to find success, and I'm looking for people who are successful, but who said that people who are just happy aren't successful? And so that's why I want to open up my doors and people's minds, as I was saying, to just talking to people that I know that might not be quote unquote successful, but they're on the track and they're just happy. And we need to open up our minds and our ears, because we really need to close our mouths and listen. Because if we do listen, we can listen to such diverse minds and thinking, and we can help adapt our ways of thinking to then propel us to that track of success. So that's what I was hoping you guys would get out of this next episode. And again, I did it with a couple people also in the background. Casey was one of them. And my other friend was also in the background. So you might hear some miscellaneous questions from the peanut gallery, quote unquote. And you might also hear my dog in the background towards the end, because he was getting fussy from being outside, because I had to keep him outside. And so that's why. So if you hear any of that, I just wanted to give you guys a fair warning. You're not going crazy. Those are actual sounds that are in the background.
Go ahead. Whoa, hey, there we go.
No, I was gonna say I'm awkward with my introduction. I'm gonna try.
No, good. No, you're good. So we were talking about kind of how people are always seem to be attached, us included, on their phone, and how our parents or people who are close to us say, "Oh, what are you doing? You're always on your phone, and you're not really doing anything productive." But we were saying, no, it's the contrary.
Our whole life, my calendar's on there, my emails are on there, and I get a lot of business through social media. But it's like social media is not liking pictures and just like gossip. It's a lot of people reaching out through there, so.
And why is that important? Because I'm talking with someone who's got not only a blog, she's a photographer, she's a teacher. I mean, she's got many hats, and we're going to delve deep into those hats. But please, if you can, just introduce yourself, Reyna, please.
I'm Reyna. I'm 24, born and raised in Miami. Yep, I do all that. Anything creative, anything to free my mind, anything to inspire others, I'm all for it.
So how long do you really spend on your phone, would you say, per day?
Oof. A lot of time. I mean, it depends. There's times that I can limit it and just stay on the computer and do things there, and that kind of helps, because then you don't get distracted. And lately I picked up like a bad habit of solitaire. Like for some reason I get bored and I'm playing solitaire, and I don't understand why, and I'll waste like time playing like 3 or 4 games, and then I'll be like, what am I doing? So if I'm home, I try to just stay like in my office on the computer and do my emails and stuff through there, because it's more disciplined.
Yeah, it's better on a computer, definitely. I mean, it's easier to navigate and everything too. But I get you on getting lost on the phone. That's the thing that's tricky with apps too, because I play Star Wars Force Arena and I get caught in it too sometimes. I'm like, what am I doing? I have things to do.
And I can't read. I can't. iBooks, I can't.
No, you prefer like the actual.
I need an
I'm
actual
the same
book.
like you. I like to just read the actual book, feel the crisp turn of the page.
Yeah, and you see how much progress you've made. Like,
It's like, oh, I got this much left. Like, here we go. Okay. But yeah, your blog is really open, is what I've noticed, and I mean it's pretty awesome that it's your name. I think that's really cool too, and your name is actually really cool, I think, and the fact that it's very open. You talk about kind of just energy and how you're very attached to this kind of flow of energy. How did that begin? Like, where did that start?
honestly, I think that I focus a lot on my emotions and like relationships and stuff, because that is kind of where I found myself, like in the absence, you know. It's kind of like that positive and negative. You can't have negative without the positive. So through relationships and having to break apart from them, I kind of had to learn on my own how to like be happy alone, you know. So I
How long were you in the relationship for?
I just mean like in general.
Oh, in general. Okay.
Yeah.
Because you were talking about casual dating too.
Oh yeah. Well, see, like, so, my parents, like, you know, they have like a beautiful love story, and I've always been a romantic. I'm a writer. I'm an artist. You know, so I love love. So it's very easy. It was very easy for me when I was younger to say like, I just can't wait to be in love. I can't wait to be married. And it was through like the times that I spent alone that I would find happiness, just, you know, just finding myself, finding my passions, watching them grow, and just that feeling of constant happiness, as opposed to you meet someone, it's a high, it's a rush, the relationship hits some bumps, it's kind of you break up, you're devastated. To me, like, when I put my energy into my passions, like, it was something that, you know, that it was feeding back into me. Like, it wasn't...
It fuels yourself.
Yeah. So...
And so it's important, of course, to love yourself before anybody can love you.
Exactly.
Before you can let anybody else love you as well. But you said that you like to follow your passions.
Yeah.
And I think that's also really cool, because you have the stay you, stay motivated, stay flux. And so... what is that stay flux? Like, where is that from? Like, what is that?
That was something I actually started a few years ago with my best friend, and we were talking about that, like that idea of flow, of just getting lost in the things that you love. And both of us had this issue where people would always tell us, like, you have to focus on one thing, you know, like, I do all of those things, and she was like a designer, and she sings, and she does this and that, and people would always tell her, you're not going to be successful if you're always jumping from thing to thing. But for me, I found that I grew in the things that I love by trying new things, you know, and always staying on top of my game, and always being open to like new experiences and learning, and just not staying stagnant, you know, not thinking that there's only one way that you have to live, or just there's only one passion that you can follow or you're gonna fail, you know. And I found happiness, like, when I have writer's block, I have photography. When I'm feeling uninspired for photography, I can write, or I can draw. And it's just, I feel like not that you need, but you can have a multitude of things and be successful.
Yeah, because a lot of people say that you can't be a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
And I kind of agree with you. I beg to differ. If you jump into many things, the new experiences thing is key with me. That's why I love traveling, for example, and seeing new places, because when you're in a new environment and you see different people, there's that world language. I just recently read The Alchemist again, and like, it's incredible how that book, I didn't pick up things when I was younger that book now has so much more significance. And world language really is a thing, and it's something that just needs to it's ebb and flow, and it's back to that whole energy thing. But so did you start with the blog? Is that kind of where
No.
Photography was first?
Photography was first. Sharing my art and photography, like, I used to do a little bit. I've been a writer my whole life. Like, since I was little, that was my first passion. But it was something that I kept very private. You know, I was very timid about people reading my stuff.
Because it's open. It's
reading my ideas.
It's tough. Yeah, I can imagine that.
And just like their feedback, like, you know, like it's important. It comes straight from the heart. You want people to love it, and it takes time, I think, to be okay with negative feedback and using it as a growing experience.
Constructive criticism. Yeah. Taking it as constructive criticism.
But photography, it was just like, you know, like, I love doing this. It's fun. Whatever. Post it. That's what social media is for. And then in time, like, I started having conversations with friends, and I started realizing that the things that I had been through and the things that I would talk to my friends about, like, everybody's going through and everybody needs to hear, you know? So I just made it a priority to just get out of my shell and share my ideas and stuff.
We're all the same, just different. We're all the same but different. It's crazy. It really is. That's one of the things that people amaze me, and there are incredible people. So I noticed that in your art you do a lot of portraits. Is there a reason for that? Like, why do you gravitate towards portraits?
I love people. I just love.
Okay.
I love the different like stories that we all have. The different stories you can see in our eyes. Even children and their innocence. Like, that's usually what I'm drawn to. Like, just the beauty of humanity, or the innocence of children, and just even despite their experiences, like, how much they're the future, you know.
You can shape and mold them however you want. And that's why education really is key. We have to go back to that too, because you're a teacher and you can spread that knowledge. And I mean, unfortunately, we need more funding, obviously, with in terms of education. But that's a whole different topic. So, like, what were your inspirations to get into art, and kind of who do you look to in terms of artists to kind of as inspirations? Yeah.
Okay, my dad was an artist, a graphic designer, and an athlete. But I mean, a lot of people don't know that. They know him as like a baseball coach. And
he played baseball?
He played, yeah. So, but he actually went to UM. His major was graphic design, and he's been doing it his whole life. And he always had sketchbooks, and as a child, like, he always let me draw in them, but I couldn't draw, you know. And I kept that outlook. Like, once I grew out of that kiddie stage of just let me color in your sketchbook, I wouldn't draw, but I would always wish to be an artist. And then it wasn't until high school I had the opportunity. Like Casey was saying, I had an IB course, and what had IB?
Some people might not know what IB is. You might have to kind of explain what that is.
The International Baccalaureate is like a rigorous. It's like a universal. Universal is not the word, is it? International. And we all go through we take the same classes, and they're higher level classes. Like they're college level and higher based thinking. And so you need a certain amount of points.
I'm sorry, and it's specified, right? Like you pick a track,
yeah. So there, you have options. There's higher level classes which you need like a certain amount of points, and then the standard level. So higher level is 2 years, standard level is 1 year. Yeah. And then you can choose like certain things. You have an option, like if you want to go the chemistry route or biology route, if you want to take statistics, or if you want to take calculus. And then our electives, we had the languages too. I did French. There's French, Spanish, and German.
Wow.
Yeah. So even that I mean, it was beautiful. It's the most stressful like thing you'll ever do, but to me, like, I'm so happy when I talk about it and the experience. It was amazing.
And it seems to give you a work ethic. Like
does.
Yeah, you get this dedication. You have to meet certain goals and standards, and then if you don't meet that, you fall behind, and then you suffer.
You do, and it's no longer like my whole life I was special because I always got straight A's. You join the IB program, and like,
everybody's getting A's,
like,
right?
Everybody, what else are you doing? Like, has the president emailed you? No. Oh, sorry, you know? And so...
And I bet that creates a little competition too. That friendly competition is good too.
It was very competitive. People are mean. You ask them a question and they're like, no, like, I stayed up all night doing this. You figure it out, you know? And so when we had the option of like electives, they had more, like, they had psychology, they had like a technology class. And when they came around like talking about them, they came with a sketchbook. And our teacher was, you know, he was really cool, and he was talking about how we use a sketchbook, and the girls were showing us, and some of them were doing like fashion, and some were doing like portraits, but like the sketchbooks were beautiful, and there was writing in them, pictures from magazine in them, some of their drawings, and I was like, wow, like, I really want that sketchbook, you know? So I was like, okay, I can take psychology and like do more work, or I can take art and just have fun, you know, because the way he explained it, he was like, you don't really need to know how to draw. You just need to have some level of like creativity and just be open, you know? And I was like, I'm going to do that. And then...
so he taught you how to draw?
Not really. Like, I just figured out, like, we had to draw in our sketchbook every day, you know? So I started copying pictures from magazines. And then my friends would be like, oh my God, you can draw. And I would be like, ew, no, I can't. But them like encouraging me, and everything that I did, they were just like, oh my God, you're so good. And so I would keep doing it. I'd be like, look, guys, you like this? You know, and it was kind of like that encouragement that pushed me.
That keeps pushing you.
Yeah.
And so do you, I mean, you say you like paperback, and you say that you've started on sketchbooks. Do you prefer drawing on paper than kind of the digital design?
I kind of do.
Yeah.
And just being on the computer for a long time really stresses me out. I don't know if anybody else feels that. I just get like anxiety. I don't know if it's my posture or what.
I wonder why is that? Yeah, maybe because you're focusing so much on the screen.
Yeah, I have to get up
and the
like
lights
take
back
a break.
at you.
Yeah, it's a lot. Like, my body starts hurting. My brain just gets fried to the point where like the attention to detail just starts failing, and I'm like, I have to get up.
So you talk about like you were sketching through magazines, and that's kind of how like helped you to draw. So has that led you kind of to like your love of fashion too? Do you kind of have? Is that where that came from?
No, I blame my mom, because that's all me and my mom did when I was a kid. All we do is shop. Still, all we do is shop.
Nothing
That's
wrong with
her
that.
fault.
That's good too. I mean, staying up to date, and so that's. I mean, art and fashion, I think, go hand in hand. That's just if you like to make cool things, you like to look good too. And the most important thing is how you present yourself, because that's first judgment.
Yeah, exactly.
And everybody, no matter what, in 60 seconds, they're gonna judge you.
And
off look.
and our bodies are a canvas, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's what I like, that's what I like.
So you
I
cool
do
with
it for these
tattoos?
women. I am.
Oh, you are tad. I didn't even see that one. Oh man,
It's my first one.
What does it say?
It says Ars Longa Vita Brevis.
Ars longa vita brevis.
It's in Latin. It means art is lasting, life is brief. And that's always been my thing. Like, I want to leave something behind that lasts forever. You know, I always had like this little thought, like I want my kids or my grandkids to be able to read about something that I did.
Mm-hmm.
And not because I was like the most like famous person or beautiful person, but like I did something, you know, because I feel like this is an era, like we don't realize it, but looking back on it, this social media era and this time when we can just be entrepreneurs and everybody can be successful doing what they love.
Or anybody can have their own business doing what they want to do.
Yeah,
themselves.
you couldn't do that before. You could, but how many people out of 1,000 people? How many people are gonna make it?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Word of mouth. But now, like, you really get to put your portfolio out there. You really get to show people what you're doing, what you're passionate about, and like it's working. You know, so. Like we're changing the world. We don't realize it, but we are the future. You know.
And like you said, it's an era that it's crazy that we're living through it, so we don't realize it, like you said. But it's making an impact.
Because when you read up on anything, read up on Cubism, it was 4 or 5 people in France that came together. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like, oh my God, like somebody said, hey guys, from this era on, we're only doing Cubism.
Right.
No, it was some people that came together with an
this
idea.
This is dope. We like this. Let's keep drawing this. Let's keep doing this.
Everything. Social realism. It was a response to something. And right now we're responding to everything that's happening in the media, everything that's happening in the government, you know, just this is our time.
Mm-hmm. So outside of the creative world, what kind of helps you be creative? Like, what's your creative process, would you say?
I don't force it. Sometimes
you have like writer's block sometimes, so you just let it be.
I let it be. I let it be. I was talking about that like in my blog this week. I tried so hard last week to love an idea. You know, I had a bunch of ideas. I wanted to talk about growth. I wanted to talk about change. I wanted to talk about this. I wanted to talk about that. And everything, like I would start writing it and I was like, I don't like this. I don't like this. You know, and I was just like, whatever, I'll leave it alone. You know? And then this week, I was just, Sunday night, I was just, you know, feeling down, whatever. I just started writing. I couldn't stop. I posted it on Monday. And then the amount of people, like more than normal, that were like, I really felt that. I really needed to read that. It's more rewarding than just writing something, okay, like this happened, so I'm going to write it, you know? So I really try not to force it.
You let your thoughts fester.
I let my thoughts fester. I was talking about that with someone last night. Like, I like to go back to how I started, because when I was first getting creative and loving it, I was just kind of like doing it for fun, listening to music while I do it. And then now, like, it's kind of like, it's a routine. So you listen to the same playlist and you do the same thing. But sometimes I like to just...
What are you listening to?
Right now, I'm listening to a lot of...
that playlist. I'm curious what that playlist
my playlist?
is.
There's a mix.
Super secret?
There's a mix. There's Alina Baraz, there's Sabrina Claudio, and then we have... I recently became a 21 Savage fan. I don't know what happened. But
it's the beats.
Yeah, there's Future. So it's just... It's all over the place. But back then, like, I really liked guitar too. So I like listening to acoustics and just being in my room listening to music that I didn't really know and just exploring everything, you know?
And so then you would just kind of go with it. Just whatever you were feeling, you would just go with it.
Because that innocence is important. I have an artist friend told me that once. Like, I noticed like his work getting really good, and I was like, so what's your favorite piece? And he was like, honestly, my first stuff. Because that's when I was innocent and that's when I was doing it for the love of it. Now, like, yeah, I can crank out pieces like that, but it's not the same.
It's more vulnerable, isn't it? It's because you're like, oh man, I'm just starting, so who knows, like, where is this going? You have such a path ahead of you. Kind of once you've established that path, it's like, okay, well, now I'm doing it like this. This is what works. Yeah, it's my machine. I got it. It keeps it going. And speaking of your blog that you did this last week, I read how you talk about how communication is key and how you think it's kind of lacking right now. And I would tend to agree that communication is lacking, and I would blame that on social media, and that's me. And I think it's because we're a lot more alone together, but we're not. We focus more on other things on social media rather than the communication aspect of it. I mean, there's the whole like sliding in the DMs and things like that, but that, I mean, it does promote a lot more cheating, and that's a whole nother thing. We'll talk about casual dating too, but I mean, do you think we are alone together with social media? Like, how does that work? Do you think there is a lack of communication? Well,
definitely a lack of communication.
But because of social media.
I am really against blaming social media though, because my thing is that when you're aware of a problem, like, you can fix it, and social media doesn't create, like, it helps the communication issues, but at the end of the day, we have a choice.
But sometimes social media isn't real. A lot of the times, it's a lot of people's happy moments and like, oh, look, I did this, and to show off and things like that. It's not real communication. It's not open. And so I think that's why I think it's kind of like, not really, like, we're not really talking deep, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's why I think there's a little bit of a lack of communication.
But I've also found that it's easier to find people that do like to dig deep, you know what I'm saying? Because it's kind of like you have a choice. Just like you can easily find girls that are comfortable with being naked on social media, but that shows you who they are. So you can also find people who are the opposite, you know? So it's kind of like it's allowing that and exposing that so that you don't have to choose that route, you know? Because just as easy as you can get all of those followers, you know, in your bikini, there's people who have found success through social media the right way, like Rupi with Milk and Honey, like Alex L writing, you know, like these are wholesome women promoting like a healthy lifestyle and well-being and this and that without being naked, you know. And it's the same thing with the relationship aspect. Like, social media opens up a lot of options, but if you're always constantly jumping from something to something and you're unable to commit and you're not happy with yourself, so you're looking for, you know, maybe I want a girl like this, maybe I want a girl like that, maybe I want a guy like that, you're never happy. At the end of the day, like, social media or not, that's you that is gonna feel unfulfilled. So
it depends on every person, obviously, and how you use it is key. But for me, what I don't really like about it is that for example, some young kids are on it and they don't really control what's on the explore page, for example, and Boonk, you know, like that guy that, like,
I don't want to talk about it.
I really I don't condone what he does, and I really don't like that he does that stuff. Like, honestly, like, we're promoting that it's okay to go and rob, and I've seen that there have been a lot more videos like that. And so that's something that that's the negative side of social media.
Yeah, and I've seen it lately too. Like, people have noticed that ignorance works. You know, because I'm looking at that like, why would any of you share it? Like, it's not funny.
Yeah.
He looks like a fool. And then I've also seen other people do things like to get a reaction out of people, and then their like their following goes up. You know, like I saw a guy the other day. He was like,
that's like that fat boy guy. Like, all he does is like go into 7-Elevens and like throws chips on himself, and I don't get it. Like, why are we promoting this kind of thing? Like, I really don't understand that.
I don't know. But at the end of the day, it's us. You know, it's the same thing when people complain about the Kardashians. It's like, you know how many of those people complain, but then they're tuned in to E every time an episode drops, or anytime like a gossip column posts something, they share it, and it's like, okay, you hate them, but you're promoting them, and every time you say their name, boom, why do you think they can sell out millions worth of products in 15 minutes?
Lipstick gone in like a
because
minute.
We're talking about them. So we criticize them, and they steal ideas from these people, and they do this and they do that. But we're constantly like, we're waiting for more. Like, we're just hungry for more, like, news and gossip and scandal, and that's why.
It's so back to why we have social media, and back to why you have social media and how you use it, and we're trying to use it positively, I think. And so what do you want people to get out of your blog, for example, and your photography when you post things? What do you hope they get out of it?
That you can really do whatever makes you happy and whatever you put your mind to, and not to have limits. I struggled a lot in the beginning when you try to they tell you need like a theme for your page, and my Instagram is like all over the place because I don't know. I want to post my art. I want to post my photography. I have to post some pictures of me. They like my hair selfies. You know, I got to post the blog, and then it's like, okay, well, it looks a mess, but this is who I am.
You're the brand. That's the thing. That you're the one. You're the star. That's how it should be.
Yeah.
You know.
So, I don't know. I want it to be authentic, because at the end of the day, I want people to be happy in their skin, where they are in life, where they are geographically. Like, I was like that for a while, that I was chasing happiness. Like, maybe I'd be happy if, you know, if I lived in New York or in Paris, or I'd be happy if I had this job and this amount of money. And you're always waiting for like tomorrow or that day that it happens. Whereas when you focus on the little steps you're taking today, like, you feel a lot better about yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people get lost in living in the moment. They think of the future, or they think of the past.
Yeah.
But it's never like, oh wow, thank God I woke up today. Like, I could do something productive today. I could eat or something. So where do you hope to be in 10 years, for example?
I hope to be self-employed, definitely. Self-employed, traveling more. Yeah, traveling more. I hope to have, you know, inspired people. I hope to have given back somehow. I've been meaning to, I kind of slacked on that this summer. I wanted to start some form of charity and stuff like that. So I just want to see everything kind of like take on a life of its own, because right now it's a lot of me pushing it. I want kind of like my words to just reach the people that need to be reached, to the point where it does its own thing, you know? Not so much like, so I'm waiting on social media and I'm updating, you know, constantly, so people, to attract more people, but kind of like just the words alone. Like, when someone thinks of something, when they talk to their friend going through something, they're gonna say, well, you should check this out, because this helps me. You know what I'm saying? Like, just the work, not how cute my outfit was, not what event I went to, but just that my work itself is helping people.
Would you hope to kind of be in the fashion realm too, or is it just doesn't really matter where, as long as it's kind of just helping?
As long as it's helping.
Is that what kind of led you to teaching too?
Yeah.
Definitely?
Yeah, teaching I love. They drive me crazy, but teaching is fun, because you watch it firsthand, you know? And it's not every day, and it's not every student, but there's always that moment where it's like, wow, like, you know, like, I'm doing something. So.
And they're just looking at you, and you can see that they're like, yes, yeah, I got you.
Yeah, they need it. And it's, someone told me that too, because at times, like, I get discouraged because I'm not reaching everyone at the same time. And my thing with my students is they're very, like, not unmotivated, but they don't believe in themselves and what they can do the way that I want them to. They're kind of like, well, they go to school, but they really want to go to work. Like, they really just want to make some money, and they don't care if it's McDonald's. And I try to teach them, like, okay, like, you can work at McDonald's 5 days out of the week, but I can teach you how to take pictures, and you can be in college working one day, you know, charging someone X amount of money, making the same thing, you know what I'm saying? And do something you like and have your free time. And they're just like, yeah, but I can get this job now. And you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's all about that fast money, that quick money approach.
Yeah, but just like me, like, it's not like I expected in that art class that I was going to be an artist forever, but certain things that my teacher taught me and said to me, it clicked later on in life when I was going through those stages, like I told you, where I was finding myself. I was kind of like, well, like, you know, you just, certain things come back to you when you need them, you know? So right now it's kind of like I'm just planting the seeds, and they'll blossom and they'll bloom on their own time, you know?
And with time, that's the thing. Patience is key too.
Patience.
Everybody wants instant gratification, but sometimes you need that seed to grow. You know, you just need to let it grow, let it take its course. And a lot of people get lost in that too. So I'm still kind of confused on what digital art and coding is, because you said a whole bunch of programs, but is it mainly like you're like building buildings? Like, what, you could do anything with it?
They can do anything with it.
So it just depends on how you use it.
Yeah, we use Adobe. Last year we just pretty much did Photoshop and Illustrator. I've started using After Effects, and I'm learning animation a little bit. So I kind of want to introduce that as well.
How long have you been doing that? Sorry, real quick.
What aspect? Teaching
the designing, the using the software and stuff.
Probably like 5 years, 4 or 5 years. Yeah. But in the beginning, like the first 2 years, I was using it like once in a while, like if I had to. So since I've been teaching it, I've been using it a lot more.
Now you know the ins and outs.
Yeah. And you always learn more. Adobe is crazy, because you think you know it, and then like a student will ask me a question, and I'm like,
let me check up on that.
Yeah, like, why do you even want to do that? But okay, I'll figure it out, you know? Or I'll be like, YouTube is great.
Yeah, it's another big help. You can teach yourself anything.
Teach yourself. I taught myself guitar.
You taught yourself guitar? Wow.
Not great. Don't
Still,
I hope you don't have a guitar and you don't ask me to play. Because
No. I'm not talented enough to play an instrument. I wish. I tried clarinet in 6th grade.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it. I stopped after the 8th grade. I was like, no, I'm hurting my lungs too much, and I prefer to play like soccer and football and stuff.
Yeah.
If my lungs are gonna hurt, they're gonna hurt from running, not from blowing into a clarinet. I'm sorry.
No, son, no.
Yeah.
Being out of breath, no.
Yeah, no. So that's really cool though. I would love to actually master that because I want to be better with designing things, and the fact that I love the fact that you can bring any idea in your mind to life. And I think that's also very important, is just the sharing of ideas. And that's why your blog is important too, because you could talk about things that maybe people don't want to talk about.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's also important, is bringing up conversations that people, like I said, don't want to talk about, because we need to push those more forward. So.
Definitely. Someone told me that last time, that like I said something that she didn't know how to put into words. And to me, that's the most important part, because I'm even nervous. I'm still nervous before I post something, just how people are going to react to it, who's going to see it, like what they're going to think of me. But then I know that I'm doing it for a bigger reason than myself. Like I'm not just trying to talk about myself and like I'm doing it so that the person that needs to read it at that moment, like it finds them. You
got to put your pride in check. You really do. And that's why if people don't like, for example, what I put out with School Me or anything that I put out, I tell them, well, put something else out.
Yeah.
You tell me why you don't like it, and then we can have, like I said, that conversation.
Yeah.
But you need to open the door to conversation, and that's where we go back to the lack of communication. Communication is everything.
I like that. You open the doors.
Yeah. I mean, you have to. If you don't talk, assumptions are killers of everything, because what are you assuming? You can assume anything.
And I love communication, so when I feel like people are treating me like that, like if you have a question, ask me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I can clear up anything if you ask me. If you go off of something that you think, like there's nothing, you don't give me a chance to rectify the situation.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's like let me think about it too. You can open up too. So I'm just so, the casual sex thing, that's got my mind wrapped up. Like how did that come about? Because you were talking about how you broke up with your boyfriend, or you had a recent breakup,
Yeah, it was just thinking about going back into the dating world. I just started remembering like those murky situations. I've never been able to like do it, because I don't like it. I was listening to one of my friends' podcasts, and she was saying how like people call it casual dating, but you do something more than once, like it's not casual. She's like, you're in a relationship, bro. Like whether you want to acknowledge it or not, you start sleeping with someone once a week, twice a week, whatever, and having conversation with them, to a certain extent, like there's a relationship there. Yeah. It might not that might not be your boyfriend, that might not be your girlfriend, but you have a relationship. And to me, that's the part that upsets me the most. It's not that people don't want to label it. It's the fact that they think that they can treat another person as an object. So you're getting something from me when you want, and you're keeping it casual because you don't want a commitment. So what about me? You know what I'm saying? What about when I need something? What about when you're the person that I sleep with and I need to have a conversation with you, but I feel like I can't because it's casual, you know? To me, that's when it becomes not fair. Or you can see me on your time, like Friday works for you, but what if I want someone to be with Sunday? You know, like it's just... Are people having those conversations? Is it a mutual thing? You know what I'm saying? Can they both do it? We saw it in Friends with Benefits. It was kind of equal. It was kind of like, she hit him up, he hit her up. That was cool. But I don't feel like that's how it is today. I feel like casual dating is more a form of manipulation. Like you have this person when you need them, and they can't really ask you certain questions. They can't really expect too much from you. And you don't really have to say anything to them. And when you don't feel like talking to them anymore, you don't talk to them anymore. You don't owe them anything. It wasn't a relationship. But it's a bad way to look at how we use our bodies, how we use our time, how we use like everything to me. You know what I'm saying? It's just always been about so much more. I'm not a label person, yet I can't do something without labels. And it's just because of the way that people take that and run with it. You know what I'm saying? Because what I have up here is unique. It's one of a kind, and you're gonna treat me like
an object, like you said.
Like you can pick my brain when you need it, and then drop me. No, that's just not gonna happen. And is the experience gonna be a mutual experience where we both feel 100% comfortable, 100% open. And I feel like I was blessed. That's why I really use my platform that I've created and just been thankful, you know, to the man above, because he made me a certain way. I've never had a hang up about like sex, like, oh, you shouldn't have sex until you're married. Yet emotionally, I just never could. You know, it was very hard for me, because I was very aware that I want something deeper than just sex. You know, so
you want that connection.
Yeah.
You wanted a deeper connection with someone, or you want a deeper connection with someone.
Definitely.
So is your family religious? You grew up kind of in a religious household?
Yeah, not super religious. My mom more than my dad. But they don't shove it down my throat or anything. You know, it was just kind of like, we go to church on the weekends. This is something that we do, you know, like we're very respectful on Sabbath. Like, we don't really listen to, like, we won't listen to hip hop. My mom would be like, put on the church channel, you know, and
no hip hop.
No hip hop. Or she'll look at me funny if I try to like go out, you know, like the night before church. She's like, no.
no. We have church tomorrow morning.
Yeah,
gotta rest up. So has that kind of guided you with art and kind of your inspirations too? I mean, I'm sure it's kind of helped. Do you look to, I wouldn't say art and kind of church, but do you kind of look to that? I don't even know if that's a thing.
I feel like,
well, the sculptures are cool. I mean, there's beautiful sculptures.
Yeah, not in that sense, but I feel like God has given me like signs and stuff that He gave me certain talents for a reason, and the reason is not for me. You know what I'm saying? It's for other people. The first time that I always wanted to hear God speak, you know, and things like that. And the first time that I actually heard Him, it wasn't like a voice. It was just a clear, like, I was having a breakdown. I was crying. It was like in my last blog when I was talking about going to Europe. I had just come back. You know, and I was just crying, like, why did this happen? How did I let this happen? And then it was just a clear message, like, it happened for a reason. Like, you're seeing certain things so that you can help other people. Like, I gave you a voice, use it, you know? And from there, I just became very, like, adamant about paying attention to the things that I had gone through and how they've shaped who I am. Because a lot that I've experienced, a lot of people that I've dealt with, I feel like I'm lucky, you know? Like, I'm not the person that can say, like, I've been with F-boys or, you know, like things like that. Like, I've dated really good people that have added something to my life, but it hasn't worked. And each time, like, it was a lesson that a lot of people don't experience because they're stuck dating the same type of person, you know? So, I don't know. I think it's important.
You try not to regret anything, too, I'm assuming. Relationships with regret? No?
Only that one time, because I wasn't fully being myself. I don't. Were you able to read the last one?
This last one I read.
The last one was
that you were saying about the whole casual sex.
Oh no! The one after that, the one that I just posted. Yeah, it was a situation where I met someone. He was an artist. I met him doing Art Basel, and it just turned out that he wasn't from America. He was from Portugal.
Oh wow!
So I didn't take him seriously. You know, like we met and that whole week we were together. We went on dates and this and that. But when he was leaving, he was like, "I'm gonna give you 4 months." And you have to come. And I was like, okay, sure, like, whatever. Whatever you say. But he was like really on it, like, you know, he'd be like, did you get your passport? Did it all? Like, I'm looking at apartments and all. And I was like, okay, like, if you say so, whatever. And then eventually, like, I realized he was serious, and I was kind of like, okay, I'll go. But like, I had never been out of the country. I had never been away from my family for so long. And I mean, I was terrified, you know. At the same time, like, we did have a connection, and I did think that it was like, oh my God, like, it was like fairy tale. But a part of me was still very practical, you know. And so my friends would say like that's weird, like, he's gonna make you marry him. And then that's when it would hit me, like, damn, like, what am I gonna do if that does happen? Like, am I really prepared to like move somewhere else? And I went anyway, but the whole time, like, I was miserable. Like, everything was bothering me. I was like, this food is different. This place is different. Is it because you knew it was temporary? No, it was because of the risk of it being forever. That it was just too much. Like, it was too much to enjoy, because I was just like, this is not Miami. This is not Miami. Nope. All these houses look old, and you know, Europe, like the architecture, like, everything's like 1,000 years old. And he's like, oh, let's look at apartments, and we go to like I feel like I'm in like the what do you call that thing? Like the Colosseum. Yeah, like, I don't want to live here, like, you know. And so I wasn't even at that point in my life, I wasn't even good at communication. So I was just kind of like looking at everything like, yeah, this is cool, you know. And,
yeah, putting on that fake smile.
Yeah, and after a while, like, it was like a tension, and it just ruined things. And afterwards, like, I regretted I don't even know if I regret going and not being ready or just not just living in the moment. But I think it was kind of a bit of both. You know, I feel like if I had known I wasn't ready to live in the moment, I should not have gone and, you know, hurt 2 people, you know, or if I had gone, I should have just been able to live in the moment.
Hurt 2 people?
Like I hurt myself and I hurt him. Yeah.
How old were you?
22.
2 years ago, yeah.
2 years ago. I had just graduated, you know. It was good timing. I wasn't like teaching then, so I kind of had nothing to do that summer, and it was like I really didn't have a reason to say no, but it was just the stakes were too high, like
it was a lesson.
Definitely a big one.
You read the omens though, which were good. You read them and you're like, okay, I see what's going on, but I'm not going to get caught in it. I'm not going to get caught in it, which is also big. You can't get caught in that. But yeah, I love what you're doing with your whole blog and everything, and I can't wait until it really, really explodes. And I'm glad that I got you now, and thank you so much for taking time out of your day to sit down and talk with me.
Thank you. This was awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
See, this is where the time restrictions really bother me, because I feel like I owe an apology to Reyna, because at the end I feel like I cut her off in her story and I felt like she wanted to explain more. So I apologize to not only Reyna but to you guys too, because I probably should have just let her continue talking, but I know the last episode was really, really long. So I didn't want to have 2 back-to-back super long episodes, so that's why I was rude and I cut off Reyna right when I cut her off. Even though it might have been not the best time, I just needed to make time, which is again why it sucks that I have to have these time restrictions. And trust me, it's not only just for myself or for you guys. There's other back end reasons why I have to keep it the way I keep it, the time I'm talking about. But I wanted to just say thank you again to Reyna for coming on. I learned a lot about communication and females and a lot of other things that I thought I knew about, but I clearly have no idea what I'm talking about. So she opened my mind onto that, and I just love her energy, and I can't wait to really see her take off, like I said. And this is the blueprint that I kind of want to have. Even though I have successful people and people who are on their way to success, I really just want to open up my platform more to people who just have a voice and who really give me inspiration and who are just interesting to talk to, because at the end of the day, I just want to open up my mind and hopefully open up your minds with obviously differing opinions. So that's why I wanted to bring her on and kind of just see how we can adjust this to find success as well as exploring success. So with that in mind, I can't really give you too many details on my next guest, because I'm in the works of talking with a bunch of them and I don't know which ones I want to drop next. So it's an option. I have options, so I don't really want to spoil anything, so I don't want to promise anything either. But in the meantime, send me questions, comments. If you guys have someone that you guys want me to interview, please, you can go on our website, which I hope you guys notice has some new additions, and send us what you guys want. And again, any questions or comments, I greatly appreciate that, because that helps me get better, and that's what I'm trying to do, is just get better every single day. And so with that, I hope you find your passion, pursue it, and peace.